Good afternoon. Welcome to the July 21st. 6.5 years of college, turn the mic on.
ISU degree.
Welcome to the July 21st meeting of the Rotary Club of Des Moines. I am Doug Saltzgaver, 2 times past president, filling in for President Matt Busey. Just in case you're counting, this is the 3rd time I've done this program. Twice when I was president and now once filling in. And now, 12 times past President Skeet Wooten will give us a moment of inspiration, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance and the 4-way test. Chief Winger, Skeet sounds like an odd first name. That might be an alias. You might want to run that, see if he has any priors or anything. Thank you.
My mother would be proud. You know, I'd forgotten that Doug was going to do this meeting, so I didn't have any snarky prepared remarks for Doug. Like, I know we all have hard jobs, but Doug has an easy job. He's a civil engineer, so he just has to make sure that the bubble doesn't fit in the center of the level. So. Oh well. Okay. Seriously. Today we honor 2 of our city's finest citizens. People who most of us will never meet, know, or have the opportunity to recognize. And I'm guessing they probably would like it that way. They like the anonymity. They didn't seek the recognition or the accolade that they will get today, but they are extraordinary people amongst us. They have been selected by a group of their peers, having been nominated by their superiors. They also probably don't want to see a 30-foot tall likeness of themselves on a billboard, but their friends and families will think it's a hoot. They inspire us because of their desire to just be. Moms, dads, spouses, neighbors, coaches, volunteers, or mentors. But they are leaders. They set an example of what it means to be all of those things. The people we recognize and honor today for their achievement did not get that way because things worked out. They got that way because things went wrong, and they handled it. They handled it 1,000 ways on 1,000 days, but they handled it. Those individuals are superheroes. As Mr. Rogers said, we live in a world in which we need to share responsibility. It's easy to say it's not my child, not my community, not my world, or not my problem. Then there are those who see the need the most and respond. I consider these people heroes. Heroes are often defined as ordinary people who do extraordinary things. But what are extraordinary people who do ordinary things called? Today, we call them the Rotary Club of Des Moines Police Officer and Firefighter of the Year. Wasn't expecting that. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance and the 4-way test.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And the 4-way test.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Please greet your fellow Rotarians.
Nice to see you. Sean? Good job. Thank you.
Nice to see you. Very nice job.
Sure.
All right, we have several guests today. When I introduce you, if you would please stand. First, Jeff DeTemple, Janus Fire Systems, guest of however many years, past President Sean Mullen. Sarah Wiederin, East Village Physical Therapy, guest of Juan. Boy, have I supported several of your professional people. Macklin Shanahan, Bank of Iowa intern, guest of Kyle McCormick. You can clap now. We also welcome the families of our police and firefighter of the year and others from each department who will be introduced later. Thank you all for being here. Today's program, the Police and Firefighter Awards, are made possible by the Rotary Club of Des Moines Foundation. Last week you heard from Dawn Flannery, our Rotary Club of Des Moines Foundation Board President, who introduced our speaker. Thanks to all of our members who donate $25 a quarter to our foundation. And many of you also donate to our annual tumbler fund. Those little green dollar signs on your name badges indicates that you made an additional annual $150 donation to help fund our programs, like today's Police and Fire Awards. If you haven't already done this and you'd like to participate, please see Kitty. We thank you for your continued support. I didn't know that $150 was voluntary. I thought you told me it was mandatory. Oh, okay. All right, with that, I'd like to ask Bob Vendrell from the Awards Committee to introduce our program for the day. Bob?
Thank you. Well, first of all, welcome to the safest place in Des Moines, Iowa. It's my honor as the Awards Committee Chair to introduce our Police and Fire program. Gloria Gray, who has helped with this program for many years, could not be here today. We want to thank Gloria for her help coordinating with these two departments over the years. Please. The Rotary Club of Des Moines has honored a police and firefighter for each year for over 20 years. Our police and fire honorees will be featured on a traveling billboard, co-sponsored by Lemire Advertising. This will go up in the next 4 to 6 weeks and will be displayed on open billboard spaces across the community. As Doug mentioned, because of your donation through our foundation, we also give $500 to a nonprofit charity of their choice to each recipient. We look forward to hearing from our recipients as they've been selected to receive their donation. It is now my honor to introduce Fire Chief John Tinkep of the Des Moines Fire Department to introduce the Fire Department honorees.
Don't worry, if anything goes wrong, we have ropes right back here. And we will there are some in this room who have repelled off of this building. I can explain that to you later. I am so glad to be here today. This is a great day. We so appreciate the Rotary's invitation and way of recognizing Police Officer and Firefighter of the Year. So thankful to Chief Winger and his staff. Welcome the Van Delzen family. And on our side, the Stokes family. I want to introduce two of our staff members who are here. Assistant Chief Percy Coleman, who's kind of my right-hand man on my right there, and Captain Ken Larson, who's also a member of the Awards Committee. So appreciate all the work they do. It's an honor to be here. It's an honor to be able to tell you about one of our finest. Our organizations have a great deal in common. We share a commitment to our community and all who reside in it. And we all want to make a positive impact every day, 1,000 ways in 1,000 days, as I think the way Ski explained it. We embrace the highest ethical standards, and I can say with confidence that today's fire selection truly embodies every element of the four-way test. Brian Stokes began his career with the Des Moines Fire Department on July 29, 1996. It's good when your classmates end up being the firefighter of the year, I'll say that. However, his training and commitment to serving others began years earlier. He began his fire training in 1990, became an EMT in 1993, and he was also a volunteer for the firefighter for the City of Des Moines, or City of Clive Fire Department for 13 years. Also in 1993, Brian became a registered nurse, and he has put those skills to good use treating patients in the hospital ever since. Brian has dedicated a great portion of his personal advocacy towards helping children and families living with cancer. He's a longtime blood and plasma donor, as well as a volunteer and supporter of the Children's Cancer Connection, Unravel Pediatric Cancer, and the Princess Cameron's Memorial Golf Outing and annual Christmas in July efforts. Princess Cameron was the daughter of senior fire medic Paul Storbeck and a family member to everyone in the fire department. During his tenure with the fire department, he has held the rank of firefighter and was promoted to fire engineer in 2005. Fire engineer is the driver operator that you see driving the engine, getting the water to the firefighters and taking care of business. He served at multiple stations and on multiple divisions within the department. Beyond the ranks he's held formally, he also acts in the ranks of lieutenant and captain, utilizing his cumulative knowledge from a long career in firefighting. His background as a registered nurse has greatly assisted providing guidance and assistance in EMS incidents. He has always been a respected member of the department, leading by example with his get-it-done work ethic without seeking accolades. However, there were two notable accolades he couldn't escape. Brian earned the Meritorious Conduct Award for his response to fallen Des Moines Fire Department fire engineer Douglas McCauley in 2017. In 2010, members of the police department will remember, in 2010, on senior police officer Dan Dusenberry's last day before retirement, Dan collapsed, was not breathing, without a pulse. Then Police Chief Judy Bradshaw presented Brian and his teammates with the Des Moines Police Department Life-Saving Award for their efforts that resulted in Officer Dusenberry getting the chance to retire and spend time with his family. In March of this year, Brian was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. It was a shock for him and his family, as well as the fire department family. For some, news like this could become debilitating, but not for Brian. He got busy meeting with the great medical oncology team. They came up with a solid game plan, which included chemotherapy treatment with a future surgery. Anyone who has experienced or seen the effects of chemotherapy knows it can be challenging, to say the least. While the treatments continue, he's been able to work whenever he's physically able. During all of our best and worst days, and even on our most challenging days, Brian Stokes is there for us in our community. He shares the wisdom we seek, he models the behavior we emulate, and he maintains the humor we need. Members and guests, it is with great pleasure that I introduce to you the 2022 Des Moines Rotary Club Fireperson of the Year, Fire Engineer Brian Stokes.
Wow, I can probably only screw up from here now. First of all, I want to thank the Rotary Club of Des Moines. What an amazing event. I really came in not knowing what to expect. I told Kitty that I didn't know whether this was just going to be a couple pictures and a thank you and all that, but what an incredible event. Wonderful reception, great food. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. So, thank you to Chief DeKipp, Chief Coleman, Captain Larson, Chief Winger and his staff for being here. Congratulations to Deb Van Velzen. I've had the honor of meeting that family before. I worked with Haley, their daughter. She's a firefighter in the city too, and was lucky enough to be stationed at the same division, same station. What a wonderful family. So, I need to thank and brag about my family a little bit. my son Max, who just finished his fire science degree and is trying to follow in his dad's footsteps. My daughter Madison, who's in physical therapy school at the University of Iowa. My wife Kelly, who's been a special education elementary school teacher for nearly 30 years in the city of Des Moines, so a real hero there. So, yeah. 408 hours. That's not how long the rest of the speech will take, but just keep that number in the back of your mind for just a second. So, when Chief called me and told me about this honor, I was completely shocked. He told me that the committee had several good applicants, good recommendations, and that it was one of the longest meetings they'd ever had to pick a person deserving of this honor. I'm very honored to be chosen by my peers and questioned if I was the best choice for such an honor. There are roughly 300 sworn personnel in the Des Moines Fire Department, and each and every one of them could be standing here today. I've always made the best effort I could, whether it be at a fire incident, EMS, training, mentoring, station life, peer support, whatever it be, to do the best I could in any of those situations, do it quietly and not seek any recognition. So as your introductee said, that none of us really probably want to be here, but you understand. So I questioned how I was nominated. I began, as Chief Kipp said, I began a battle with pancreatic cancer in March. So I questioned whether this was maybe a pity nomination. So I talked to a fellow firefighter about my concern and happened to have some information on my nomination. He said that the cancer diagnosis just brought forward my contributions to the fire department. My brothers and sisters of the fire department have called, sent texts, given hugs, handshakes. I've never felt more support from them. It truly is a family. While my treatment and progress have been very positive, as Chief Kipp said, I have not been able to work all my shifts, but I am very lucky to have been able to work some. The chemo treatments, I have to take about a week off after each chemo treatment. But I'm lucky in that sense that I recover well enough that I get to put some shifts in between chemo treatments. So. That number I mentioned earlier, 408 hours. As of this morning, 408 hours is the number of hours that my fire department family has covered for me. While working their own shifts, working special events, and caring for their own families, they had my back. I didn't ask them to cover my shifts. They set up a schedule and they did it on their own. Again, any of them could be standing here today. So I humbly accept this recognition and in honor of all of them. Again, thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
It is now my honor to introduce Chief Dana Wingert of the Des Moines Police Department to honor their recipient. Thank you, Chief.
20 weeks of the Des Moines Police Academy. Always check the mic. No, we love this event. This is a great event. We look forward to this every year. But I just want to stop and say, if I have to have a fire engine roll up to my house, I want to do just like that driving it. Congratulations to you. Well earned. Thank you. So, once again, this causes us, as departments, we're very dynamic. We're very nimble. We're always on the move. 24/7, 7 days a week. This makes us hit the pause button and look around us and see what incredible employees we have working for us, and then sit down and make a nomination. Ours this year was very easy. The first time I brought it up, at our executive staff meeting, I said, you know, it's that time of the year. Gloria's calling. It's time to sift through this and make some nominations. And I think it was Assistant Chief Alan Tunks who sits at the opposite end of the table. He's like, Deb Van Velzen. And then somebody else chimed in with, duh. So that was kind of the extent of the voting. And here we sit today. But I'm going to say a few things about Deb, and you'll understand why she's here today. You talk about service, that family over there emulates it. You have Haley, senior medic at Station 8, which is good because Haley's very good. That's also the fire station that covers me. Jody, Deb's husband, he was a sergeant with the Des Moines Police Department for several years. Shortly after 9/11, he transitioned. He was in the military, transitioned full-time to the military to fly Black Hawk helicopters. I don't know how many tours he did, but I know he spent a lot of time away from home. Then he was back doing instruction, teaching others how to fly Black Hawk helicopters. So when we talk about service, that family emulates it. There's no two ways about it. So, police work is not all about fighting crime, okay? It's not about just humping the trips, following up on the cases, investigating those serious accidents. There's a lot more to it. And that's what you get with Deb Van Velzen. She began her work career as a school teacher. In 2004, she transitioned to the fire department. Obviously, everybody could see there was something special in Deb Van Velzen. Did a fantastic job on patrol, and then transitioned to the school resource officer program, where she spent a decade plus at Lincoln High School by herself with over 2,000 kids. Never complained once, just went out there and did a fantastic job. But she took that job to another level because her first primary focus is to keep those kids safe, kids and the staff. She absolutely succeeded at that. But then she took on new roles. She was a mentor, she was a counselor, she was a friend, she was a mom. She was somebody that would help these kids through the basic essentials of life when they had no other support system. And Haley made a comment earlier that kind of resonates about what kind of a person Deb Van Velzen is. Haley said, yeah, she's got to be everybody's mom. Well, she's a pretty good mom. So now she has transitioned from that job into our neighborhood-based service delivery, where she can focus on youth programming full-time. We have a program called the Second Chance Program that Deb administers, and it's basically those low-level crimes that kids get themselves involved in. Generally they go through the juvenile court system, which is a very tough system to navigate, especially with a family with little means. Deb has a program established where those crimes happen. Instead of juvenile court, she puts them through her Second Chance Program, which includes community service, mentoring, wraparound services, and if they successfully complete that, juvenile court never knows it happened. Gives that kid an absolute second chance. We don't have to run this program. We run it because we have somebody passionate like Deb that's willing to do it. Last year, she came to me. We were getting a couple hundred kids through this program a year. She came to me with a proposal. It's time to take it to a whole nother level. So now every case involved in a juvenile, over 1,000 kids a year will probably have an opportunity to go through this Second Chance Program. That's pretty incredible. It's unheard of in law enforcement, and certainly the example of what a diversion program should look like. But that's not enough for Deb. Let's do some more things. Last week, Deb hosted a bike camp for kids that otherwise would never have an opportunity to do something like that. Give them a bike, give them a helmet, give them some instruction, and then take them for a week to places in the city that they'd never get to go. Feed them, be a friend to them, mentor them, and build those relationships. The list goes on and on. She's done this for years. And she has a responsibility in her mind to be that friend for these kids. She doesn't lose contact with them. She stays in touch, follows up to make sure that they stay on the right track. I don't know how she keeps everything organized, but Deb Van Velzen is the perfect example of what makes Des Moines great. As we sit here today, I look around the room. Des Moines is different because we have so many great people in this town. Deb Van Velzen is one of them. The work she does behind the scenes, most people will never see. But the work she does behind the scenes will impact these kids and these families forever. She's proven it over and over again. I can't say enough how proud I am of Deb. When I walked in, I think Assistant Chief Tunks was sitting in the office. Deb came in to talk about something else. I said, oh, by the way, you're gonna be Police Officer of the Year. You could have knocked her over with a feather. Because that's just what she does. She plugs away, does the right thing at the right time, every single time, and expects nothing in return. Today, you gave me the opportunity to show Deb that all her efforts and all her impact does not go unnoticed. So it's my great honor to introduce Rotary Club's 2022 Police Officer of the Year, Senior Police Officer Deb Van Velzen.
Good afternoon. Brian's speech, I think you're going to think that we got together and we copied each other because there's a lot of common themes here. I just want to start off, and by the way, my teacher and me, I brought a visual aid for you, so just so you know. I want to say, first of all, I want to start off by saying thank you. I am very humbled and appreciative of being selected for this award by my peers and the leadership of the Des Moines Police Department. President Ronald Reagan once said that there is no limit to the amount of good you can do if you don't care who gets the credit. And even though I stand here before you today, there are so many other people in my life that should be standing right next to me. I truly did not get here alone, and I'm so blessed to be working with so many great men and women in the Des Moines Police Department and having a very supportive family. This week, the Des Moines Police Department and the Fire Department joined forces and created the very first annual Iowa Hero Academy. This is a week-long overnight camp for 26 young women, yes, we're crazy, across Iowa for ages, ranging in ages of 15 to 18. This camp focuses on exploring the career of being a first responder. And as we created this camp and developed it, we decided to give the girls each a t-shirt. This is our t-shirt. The firefighters wear the red, we wear the blue. On the front of this shirt, you will see that we have our logo. This logo is actually designed by my daughter, Haley. And this represents what our camp is about. There's no question about it. But this isn't the most important side of the shirt. The back side of the shirt is probably the most important. These are our supporters. These are the organizations, the individuals, the businesses that had our back. Very similar to what you were saying, Brian. And if you look at these, this list, these are the people and organizations that financially supported us. They gave us sweat equity, and if it hadn't been for them, our camp would not be successful. They believed in us. They gave us the money to put towards it because this was a free camp. The only cost to these girls was the gas money getting here, which was probably kind of high. Bottom line is everyone needs someone to have their back. So as I prepared to come to speak to you today, I started to wonder if I created my own t-shirt, who would be on my back of my t-shirt? And this is where I might get a little emotional. I would use this tissue, but I don't know who used it. Just group of people, the countless co-workers that I have, from my leadership all the way down to the other officers that help me do my programs, the countless hours that they have dedicated to helping me make my programs successful. Miss Kitty Westenauer, some of you may know who she is. She has shown me what grit is. She's got true grit. I've known her for several years. She's been a very positive female role model for thousands of women in this community. Coach George Davis. I continue to cry, I won't be able to read. For being that caring, supporting adult every kid needed growing up. He is the reason why I decided to take the path in my life. And he was a father figure to not just me, but thousands of other student athletes. My mother, who's not with us today, she's in heaven, and my sisters, for showing me that through resiliency you can get through anything. Because we're family. And I recently lost my mother-in-law about a month ago, Marilyn, and she showed me what a true friend is. She lived with me for 25 years. Yes, my mother-in-law lived with me. She was my best friend. And then, of course, my children, who has Haley and Tori. Tori, she's not here. She's in doctorate school. She's going to be the doctor in the family, so we've got everything covered. For showing me the joy and giving me purpose in life. And then last but not least, my husband, Jody. Nearly 25 years we've been married. 19 years ago, he is the one that convinced me, or suggested, he didn't convince me, he suggested that I leave education and apply for the police department. So you can blame him. He has shown me unconditional love and compromise. And he always gives me good advice, like keep the speech under 5 minutes. So with that said, everyone needs someone to have their back. So my question for you today is your name on the back of someone's shirt? I mean, isn't that the ultimate goal that we have in life, no matter what profession you're in, is to be on someone's back, to build mentors and mentees, to build that bench. We should all strive to make a difference in someone's life, to be a mentor, to love them until they ask why, to earn the honor of having your name printed on the back of their shirt. So I just want to personally say thank you to the Rotary Club. This award has truly made my career. I was a special education teacher, and I know back then it was called a 3-6 BD classroom. My kids never left my room. I was stuck with them all day. And I remember them asking me one day, do you think you'll ever get the Golden Apple Award, Mrs. Van Belsen? And I said, if I could get you to write a paragraph, maybe. So this is my Golden Apple, and I think you could probably relate to this. So I specifically also want to say thank you to Chief Winger and the Des Moines Police Department leadership for allowing me to do what I love to do, and that's to work with kids. Thank you for believing in me, and I'm truly, truly proud to be a part of the Des Moines Police Department family, and I consider myself to be very, very blessed, so thank you.
And I'm supposed to say something now? Wow. Congratulations to Brian and Deborah, and of course to their families. And thank you both chiefs for being with us here today. And thanks to all of you who serve with your respective departments and your service to this great community. And thanks again to Gloria Gray and to Bob, the awards committee chair, for pulling this all together. Boy, it's really tough to follow that, isn't it? So we do have some upcoming speakers. And remember, if you can bring a guest, you need to RSVP for yourself and your guest by Wednesday at 9 a.m. July 28th, We have Bruce Anderson, Iowa Automobile Dealers Association. August 4th, Bill Wright, Senior VP and Managing Director of CBRE Hubble Commercial Realty. August 11th, Penny, former diplomat with the U.S. Foreign Service. Got a question for you, Chief. I'm a civil engineer. If I'd stop by one of the stations, could I drive one of the big rigs?
I think as long as the bubble's between the lines.
Okay. This is a tough crowd. I may not do this again. Whoa. But thanks again for everybody being with us here, part of your Rotary Club of Des Moines. And I think we ought to do this about the same time next year, don't you?
Yes.
With that, we are adjourned.